How's it going, bros? My name is James. Today we're doing something a little different. We all love a good horror movie, right? The jump scares, the creepy music, the feeling of relief when the credits roll and you can turn the lights back on. But what if the horror doesn't end when the movie does? What if the place you watched it in is just as haunted as the story on screen? It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? The seats we sit in, munching on our popcorn, could hold their own dark histories, their own ghosts waiting in the wings. It's the ultimate blurring of lines where the fiction we pay to see bleeds into the real world. We're talking about cinemas where the screams from the audience weren't just for the film. Places where staff refuse to work alone, moviegoers report more than just flickering projectors. This isn't just about spooky stories. It's about the unsettling overlap between iconic horror film lore and documented, chillingly real events. Join me as I explore some of the most cursed cinemas where horror movies came to life. Can I survive a night in one of these spooky spots? Probably not, but we're doing it anyway for the content, right? Let's find out together. All right, first up, we're going to the heart of Tinseltown, Hollywood itself, the El Capitan Theater. You know this place. It's all glitz and glamour. Owned by Disney, the site of countless cheerful premieres. It looks like the absolute last place you'd expect anything spooky. Classic, opulent Hollywood, all grand and golden. You walk in and expect to see Mickey Mouse, not a demon on the ceiling. But that's what makes this story so frickin' creepy. Back in 1973, when it was the Hollywood Paramount, it hosted the premiere of a little film you might have heard of, The Exorcist. Yeah, that movie. It made people terrified of their own beds and gave a generation a pea soup complex. The film already had a reputation for being cursed, weird accidents, and unexplained fires on set. So the vibe was tense. Premiere night was absolute chaos. Not just scared viewers, the reports were insane. Audience members allegedly fainted, ran out screaming, and some were in hysteria, crying and shaking in the lobby. A full-on meltdown. Staff that night and during the run started reporting things unrelated to the screen. The auditorium lights would flicker and die at super intense moments, not just the projector, but the house lights. It happened so often it couldn't be written off as an electrical fault, like the theater itself was reacting. Then objects started moving. Ushers would find stanchions knocked over in empty hallways. Doors would slam shut in back corridors with no one there. Management played it down. It's just the power of the film. Classic corporate deflection. But staff and moviegoers told a different story. They talked about a heavy, oppressive feeling. A sense of being watched, especially in the balcony and backstage areas. As if the demonic energy on screen seeped into the fabric of the building. The film didn't just play here, it left a stain, a permanent dark residue. Imagine watching Reagan's head spin 360 degrees, and suddenly the lights above you start strobing. You'd freak out. You wouldn't know what's effect and what's something else. The fear becomes immediate, surrounding you. Staff stories are the most compelling. They'd clean up late at night in the now empty theater, hear whispers from the back rows, see shadows move at the periphery. One janitor swore he saw a dark figure in the back row long after everyone left, which vanished when he turned on the main lights. He refused to clean that section alone again. Can you blame him? It's one thing to hear a ghost story, it's another to live it while sweeping popcorn. Is it just your mind after seeing one of the scariest films ever? Or something more? This tension is the El Capitan's legend. Management called it a marketing gimmick, but consistent staff reports suggest otherwise. These were people who knew the building's quirks. They knew normal, and they were scared. Genuinely scared. They weren't actors. They were ushers and projectionists. The curse of the Exorcist set is famous, but what if it wasn't confined to the set? What if screening this film acted like a beacon? A cinematic seance inviting something in? Did that premiere unleash something inside the theater? Something that still lingers in the dark corners of the glamorous El Capitan? It's a chilling thought. A place of Disney magic hiding a demonic secret, all from one premiere decades ago. Next time you see a Disney movie there, remember what happened on that screen. Sweet dreams. Okay, for our next stop, we're hopping across the pond to London, to the Curzon Cinema in Mayfair. On the surface, this place is classy, an art house cinema known for its sophisticated films and discerning clientele. It's got a very cool, modern vibe. But if you dig just a little bit, you find out its foundations are not so modern. The entire area was built over a massive 18th century burial ground, a cemetery. They literally built a cinema on top of it. It's like step one in every horror movie plot ever. So, you have this inherent creepiness baked into the location's DNA. The cinema has become notorious among staff and paranormal investigators for its own resident ghosts. It seems to attract horror films about vengeful spirits. Think about the premiere of a film like The Ring. Now imagine watching that in a cinema where staff report seeing a vengeful female spirit. Staff testimony is where this gets really juicy. For years, employees have shared stories of paranormal encounters. The most common one is the apparition of a woman in white. She's often seen floating or walking down the main staircase near screen 1. Multiple people, over many years who don't know each other, have described the exact same figure. They say you don't just see her, you feel her. The air grows incredibly cold. Staff will be hit by a pocket of freezing air, so cold they can see their breath. It's a tangible change with no logical explanation. There are also reports of disembodied voices echoing in empty screening rooms after the last movie. Ushers cleaning up will hear a faint conversation or a sad sigh from the seats. When they check, there's no one there. One unsettling story involves the projection booth for Screen 1. A projectionist working late felt watched. He turned and saw the outline of a man standing in the corner, staring. He fled the booth and refused to finish his shift. His description matched other staff reports of a male entity in that area. This slow-build eeriness is the Curzon's signature. Pervasive, creeping dread. Management even allowed paranormal teams to spend the night. They captured EVPs of voices whispering names and recorded drastic temperature drops confirming cold spots. So, we have verification beyond anecdotes. You have to wonder about the psychology of working there. Is the cinema haunted by spirits from the cemetery? Are the films, like The Ring, amplifying the paranormal energy? It's a terrifying feedback loop. The Curzon Mayfair might look chic and modern, but beneath it, the original residents are still making their presence felt. Chapter 3. Our third location takes us to Boston, Massachusetts, and back in time. We're talking about the Orpheum Theater. This place isn't just old, it's practically ancient by American standards. It first opened its doors in 1852, originally as the Boston Music Hall. It has seen so much history, so many changes, and so much, tragedy. And that tragedy, it seems, has left a permanent scar. The Orpheum has a long and complicated history. Concert hall, opera house, vaudeville theater, cinema. But its darkest chapter came early in its life. The building was ravaged by a deadly fire in the 19th century. Fires in theaters back then were terrifyingly common and incredibly deadly. Gaslighting, flammable curtains, no real safety regulations. These grand halls could become death traps in an instant. The fire at the Orpheum was no exception. Lives were lost, people were trapped, and the event left a dark stain on the building's legacy. Paranormal experts and longtime employees say that tragedy never really left. It's as if the smoke cleared, but the residue of that fear and pain was absorbed into the walls, the floors, and the very soul of the theater. This is where the historical detail becomes crucial. It's not just a generic ghost story, it's tied to a specific documented event. The recurring sightings are believed to be the spirits of those who perished in that fire. The most frequently reported apparition is a figure seen in the upper balconies, often described as looking lost or confused. People say it appears solid for a moment before fading away. Sometimes, it's just a dark shape in a seat that was empty a second ago. Musicians performing on stage have reported seeing figures in the balcony during sound checks when the house is completely empty. There's the faint, unmistakable smell of smoke with no source, or the sound of coughing and panicked whispers from empty sections. It's sensory-level haunting. See it, smell it, hear it. Let's cut from that historical horror to the present day. The Orpheum is now primarily a music venue, but its cinematic past and spectral present are intertwined. Staff accounts are chillingly consistent. One security guard heard a single seat creak down in the front row, as if someone had just sat. He shone his flashlight, empty, but down. He pushed it up, continued, came back, down again. He was the only person in the building. That kind of subtle physical interaction is terrifying. It's not a ghost jumping out and yelling, boo! It's something quietly and deliberately making its presence known. Another common report, a little girl near the stage in old-fashioned clothing sometimes heard humming. No one knows who she was, a performer or a performer's child, but the legend says she died in the fire. The Orpheum's haunting isn't angry or malevolent, it's deeply sorrowful. A perpetual echo of a terrible event, imprinted on the space. A constant, spectral audience that never, ever leaves. Chapter 4. For our final story, we return to London, to a cinema with a legend so specific and so sad, it feels like something out of a Gothic novel. This is the Rex Cinema. It was a grand, beautiful cinema. Then it fell into disrepair, became a warehouse, and was eventually restored to its former glory. But through all those changes, one story has persisted. The legend of the woman in white. No, not the same one from the Curzon. This is a different lady, with a different, much more tragic backstory. The legend says that years ago, a young woman was on her way to meet her beloved at the Rex for a date. She was supposedly wearing a beautiful white dress, but on her way, she was tragically struck and killed in a traffic accident right outside. A classic, heartbreaking tale. The story goes that her spirit, unaware or unwilling to accept her death, completed its journey. It entered the cinema, looking for the date that would never arrive. And ever since, her ghost has been seen wandering the halls of the Rex, forever searching, forever waiting. Audience members over the decades have reported seeing her, a luminous, almost transparent figure in a flowing white dress, seen gliding silently down the aisles or standing at the back, as if looking for someone in the crowd. She never interacts, never makes a sound. She just appears for a moment, a silent, sorrowful vision, and then fades away. But seeing her isn't the only way people experience this presence. The most common report is an intense, inexplicable drop in temperature, an icy presence settling over a few seats or an entire row. People will be watching a film and suddenly feel a profound, bone-deep chill that has nothing to do with the air conditioning. It's often accompanied by a sudden, overwhelming feeling of sadness. Imagine that. You're watching some dumb comedy, laughing your head off, and then a wave of immense grief just washes over you. That's the experience people report at the Rex. Staff have their own stories. Cleaning crews working late at night have reported hearing soft weeping from the empty auditorium. They'll go in to check. The sound stops, and there's nothing. Just rows of empty seats, thick with melancholic silence. There are also tales of small interactions. An usher leaves a coat on a chair, returns to find it neatly folded on the floor. Doors left open, found gently closed. Never aggressive, subtle, quiet, almost mournful, as if she's just moving through the space she's trapped in. One of the most poignant parts of the legend is that she is most often seen during romantic films. It's as if the themes of love and connection draw her out, reminding her of what she lost. a ghostly spectator drawn to the very thing she can no longer have. This makes the haunting of the Rex uniquely emotional. It's not about fear of a monster, it's about a shared sense of empathy for a lost soul. It's a ghost story that makes you sad rather than scared. You don't want to run from this ghost. You almost want to comfort her, to tell her that it's okay, that she can stop waiting. The Rex is beautiful, lovingly restored, but there's an undercurrent of melancholy you can't shake. It's in the corners, in the cold spots, in the quiet moments between dialogue on screen. It's the story of a promise never kept, a date that never happened, and a love cut short. The cinema becomes a monument to her waiting. So, as the credits roll and the lights come up, you're left with a whisper. Is she still there, wandering the aisles in her white dress, forever waiting? Does the cinema itself still mourn for her? Outro. So there you have it. 4 cinemas, 4 chilling legends where the line between the screen and the supernatural is terrifyingly thin. From the demonic energy of a Hollywood premiere to the sorrowful echoes of tragedy and lost love in London and Boston, it's clear that sometimes the scariest things happen when the movie is over. These aren't just buildings, they're theaters of memory, holding on to the energy of the stories they've shown and the real-life dramas within their walls. It makes you wonder what lingers in the dark after you've gone home. I've got to admit, after digging into these stories, I'm not sure I'll ever look at an empty cinema the same way again. That feeling of being watched, those unexplained cold spots. Maybe it's not just our imagination. Have you ever experienced something strange in a cinema? A weird noise, a strange feeling, or an actual sighting? I absolutely want to hear about it. Share your story in the comments below. Let's turn the comment section into a paranormal investigation of its own. And hey, if you made it this far, you're a true survivor. Check out my other videos, and subscribe to survive the next one. Subscribe CTA. It means a lot. But for now, I'm going to go watch a cartoon or something, in a very well-lit room. Whether curse or coincidence, these cinemas prove the line between fiction and reality can be dangerously thin. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.